But let's talk about the meltdown of meltdowns. Your guy, Patrick Beverley, Lamar Arrington, who decided, you know what would be a good idea as we're getting eliminated and this disappointing season comes to a close? I'm going to go ahead and fire a basketball into the crowd at Pacers fans because I don't like what they're saying behind the bench. I'm going to inadvertently hit a woman in the head with a ball who didn't say anything, to my understanding, to him. She just caught a stray, and it was a Spalding.
Literally.
She caught a Spalding to her temple, just sitting there minding her own business, dressed in awful Pacers gear. And then he decided, well, yeah, give me the ball back, and then fired it again and threw it at somebody. It's just so, I mean, you can't make this stuff up now. You're probably thinking, look, heat of the moment, regretful, don't worry about it. Like, he'll apologize. He's going to have to, he'll deal with a fine.
Nope.
All that being said. And instead, he decided to, after the game, while sitting in his locker and taking interviews, talked to a bunch of the media members that were gathered, and there was a woman who was there trying to get a quote from Patrick Beverley, and as you'll hear, there was a requirement for her to listen or be able to interview Patrick Beverley, and then once she did not meet that requirement, he made it clear when she tried to stick her mic in after her original question was sort of shooed away. And still, he was not having it. Here was Patrick Beverley, Mr. Thrower of 2 basketballs at fans last night in Indiana.
Subscribe to my pod?
Do I subscribe to you? I do not subscribe.
So you can't interview me then. No disrespect.
Well, Jamal is here.
You subscribe? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Again, there were a couple times within a bucket or two. In previous games, y'all have been able to kind of get over that hump. Or maybe was it anything they did in particular, or was it just one of those where the bucket didn't go down, there wasn't the stop, they made one? What kind of prevented that you all from being able to get over, kind of like you have in the past?
You'll move that mic, please, or just get out the circle, please, for me, please, ma'am. If you're not subscribed to my pod, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So
It's great marketing.
I mean, it is. Here's my thought. Those actions are of a guy who just doesn't care if he plays anymore. If his main focus is, do you subscribe to my pod, he's probably made a good amount of money in his NBA career, and he looks at it and says, you know what? After this year, I'll weigh my options. And as the game was winding down, he said, I think I've weighed my options. Here's 2 basketballs in your face. And then afterwards, I'm going to double down and be an a-hole and just decide I'm not going to take anybody's interview that doesn't subscribe to my pod. That's a guy who I think is got his 1 foot out the door and now 2 feet out the door of the NBA.
We just had this conversation about the hero versus the heel, the controversy versus safe, the enlightening versus derogatory. Everyone seems to love, whether they want to subscribe to it or not and be a part of it. It seems like what goes in the social media world, what goes in culture today is drama. The villain. I brought up Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy Floyd is a dope boxer. But Pretty Boy Floyd had no real following that would lead to the type of money that he wanted to make or could have made based off of his talent, until he made himself relevant through being a heel. He became Money Mayweather, and he became what people would consider to be a villain. Patrick Beverley is a guy that, fought his way to be in an NBA, fought his way to be on the basketball court, and he clearly embraces being the villain. So I don't necessarily think that it's about him not caring about being a basketball player anymore. I just think that he embraces being an abrasive personality, and it seems as though the teams that pick him up embrace him being that guy. Some people would subscribe to the fact that he's the type of guy you want to have as a teammate and you hate to play against. He's an agitator, like a Bill Romanowski or, those types of guys that, it's like you hate playing against them. You think that they're like all kinds of different derogatory term names. But when they're on your team, you're like, yeah, like that's dang, that's pretty, like, look, he's getting them out of their game. Like,
yeah.
A guy like Patrick Beverley could get you out of your game if you're not careful. And I think that he knows it and he embraces it.
He threw 2 basketballs at people's heads in the crowd. And then afterwards,
ain't no coming back from that.
And then afterwards, when you would think like, man, that was not cool. I shouldn't have done that. Again, heat of the moment. They could have said something and I got it wrong. What does he do? Tells a woman, you can't interview me unless you subscribe to my pod, which is just, listen. It just, I look at it and I go, why
stop being a villain on the court? I mean, just continue to be a villain. I mean, you can't be, I'm in character, I'm a villain. Just be a villain the whole entire time.
What do you think that suspension's going to look like? First of all, if he even plays again. They're not saying that he's going to be suspended for life or banned. I'm just saying, I wonder, again, if he just looks at it and says, man, I'm good. I've made $80+ million in my career. My podcast is a success. I don't want to deal with the crap. Since COVID, he's been on 6 or 7 different teams.
You think he's going to get sued? You think they're going to sue him?
Well, isn't that...
For pain? Is that battery, pain, and suffering?
He hit her in the head.
She's going to need therapy. It's going to cost $1 million.
I mean, look.
It's going to cost him $1 million. Here's my doctor bill right here. Chiropractor adjustments. Psychologist visits. I can't work anymore.
I mean,
the pain, the duress, the stress from it all.
It ain't great, man.
I mean, he ain't even throw it that hard, but the second time he threw it pretty good. The first time was he just shot it. He shot it and made it. Shot it upside her head.
Man.
Pause.
Well, listen,
no diddy.
I hear you.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Well, listen, Pat Bev.
Hi, Coop. How you doing? All right, good to see you. Hey, Lee. All right. Hey, Lorena, how you doing? Eddie, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? All right, good morning, guys.
I don't subscribe to the pod either, but if Pat Bev wants to.
But I bet you he got eyeballs on it because he did something that made him go viral. And then after he went viral, then he doubled down on it. Like, everybody's going to pay attention to what I had to say. It was our lead-off story. So there's even more people getting the information right now, and they're going to go check out his podcast. So while I may think that he's a douchebag in how he handles things, bottom line is it's pretty brilliant what he did.